Good evening and welcome to the February meeting of the Greencastle Common Council. If I could ask everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, welcome to our February meeting. Linda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilor Adam Cohen.
Here.
Councilor Stacy Langdon.
Here.
Councilor Steve Fields.
Here.
Councilor Tyler Wade. Councilor Mark Hammer. Councilor Gary Lemon.
Here.
Councilor Dave Murray.
Here. Our next order of business is public petitions and comments. We did not have any come forward. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything that's not already on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move to special requests. The first is street closure request for Main Street Greencastle, and I think Kristen Clary is going to represent Main Street this evening. And I believe this is the usual suspects for First Fridays.
Good evening, and the mayor is correct. We are requesting street closures, the very same place that we requested last year on Franklin Street and on Indiana Street, from 4 to 11. Starting at 4 allows us to start closing those streets right after the courthouse shuts down. And then we get those streets closed off and we get all of our vendors set up and all of our bands set up. And we cut it off at 11 because there does tend to be a little excitement after 11 o'clock. And we prefer to stay away from that. So anyway, 4 to 11, April through December, excuse me. So, yep. And the event usually lasts from about 6 to 11, depending on the weather and the light.
I move that the request be granted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant the requested street closures. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you, Kristen.
Great, thank you.
The next one is Molly Henderson for Relay for Life, and this is for coming up on March 17th.
That is correct. So Relay for Life is doing our second annual 5K, and it's also going to be our kickoff for our Relay for Life this year. We want to start it at about 10, but we don't plan on starting the race till about 10:30, and I know you guys have a little bit of experience with your 4th of July race. Obviously, shutting down 231 for any amount of time is a little bit of a big deal. So I was kind of looking to you guys to see what you guys typically do for the amount of time there. Because they did say we wanted the police at each junction, but I don't know
Tom,
how long that
it's usually kind of an intermittent closing.
Exactly.
Everybody race across the street, reopen it, and then when people come back, it's closed again. Tom, do you have any?
Yeah, if we're going to run the same route, and Rod might have some comment on this, if we were going to run the same route that we typically run through.
That is the plan.
We will provide police officers at the intersection of 231 and Seminary, because that's where they cross the US 231, and usually what an officer does, they'll station there, get traffic stopped, let the runners come across, and open the roadway. We don't put barricades up or anything to block the roadway.
Okay.
So it's basically manned by the officer.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Is that the route that?
They're talking about the same route we run for July 4th.
Yes.
So basically, all intersections and all roadways are open. Runners know enough to look both ways before crossing the street. However, we do provide a police officer at 231 and so
You might want to sit and meet with Rod and Tom. I mean, Rod's the one who runs our race every 4th of July.
Yep.
So I think it'd be good if you sat and met with
Okay,
him.
they asked me to submit the street closure form, so.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you did good
You did
there.
right. I'm just saying for advice on how to do it.
Yep.
Also, we require that the release that the runners sign has to be approved by our city attorney.
Okay.
And insurance too, possibly.
And insurance, she needs to see the insurance.
Right.
And the city,
So-
and she needs to see the release.
Absolutely. The request I got from our American Cancer Society liaison was that we have some kind of contract to submit to them in order to get the insurance.
Contract to who?
Basically a contract for the event saying we're getting this space for this reason and this is our plan for the event. which I'd be more than happy to put together, but it has to be, I guess, signed by somebody from the city.
Well, we don't normally do contracts. I mean, we
I'll
can.
work with you
Yeah,
on
we
it.
could provide a copy of this. but-
Well, we do contracts with folks.
It doesn't have to be anything huge,
Formal,
but
just the date is set, this is when we're using it, and
This is the
this is the
plan.
route we're going.
yeah.
Well, I'll make a
No.
motion. Oh, go ahead.
And more than that.
Well, I get it.
I'll
Sorry
make,
that you asked.
I'll make a motion that we approve it pending your meeting with the police chief, park director, and the city attorney signing off on all the legal stuff.
Confidence that the runners will look both ways,
Yeah.
that Tom and his staff will use.
I was gonna make-
And Lori's gonna work this out, I will second that motion.
I was just gonna comment that
Thank you very
there might be a difference in looking both ways between college students and the runners in the summer, but you ever been on our campus,
We
Dave?
we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor with the conditions as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll turn the ball over to you and Lori to work out the details and
Okay, thank you.
go from there. Thank you. Next item of street closures is Tony Robertson for DePaul graduation. And again, this is a regular annual request, so
Well, I'm convinced our students will not stop for graduation, so we're going to request to close the street
I would agree.
for up to 5 minutes on the 18th and the 20th of May at or about 10:30 in the morning. The first location will be just south of the Julian Center to cross over to Bowman Park. The second location will be about halfway between the new Hoover Dining Hall and the Union Building so that we might cross into East College Lawn. So.
I wish there was something I could say to make a tough question to you, but I'd move to,
If you ask a tough question, I'm going to lie to you. I'm just going to tell you that right up front.
remember, you're on camera here.
I know.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Thank you.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank
Tony.
you.
Next item of business on the agenda are department reports. Most of our department heads are here. I know Rod will come up to do a little marketing on behalf of the Parks Department. And we're going to ask Rod to be crisp tonight, and then we'll open the floor for other questions.
All right, so I get held with 2 minutes, so if I talk really fast, I apologize right now. No. You've got my report. I put a lot of pictures in it. We had a program, to start positive, we had a program this past month, our Brick Mania Birthday Bash, which was a food fundraiser for the Putnam County Emergency Food Pantry. We had over 300 people attend. We had 268 items that we collected, plus some change, or cash and change for the food pantry.
Can I say something?
You sure may.
I have heard about Brickmania. I thought I'm gonna check it out this year. It's amazing.
it is.
I thought it was just a bunch of kids to get together and do Legos. That's not what it is. It's professionals. It's people that know what they're doing. It's moving parts. It's all kinds of things. And you should go sometime.
I
mean,
went this,
yeah,
my parents were here, we went down and looked.
it's amazing. And it's great that you did the food pantry. And when I was there, it was very crowded. So I think it was
It was
good turnout.
it was a very good event, and
Lots
if
of
you-
kids,
And if you
yeah.
don't mind, I would like to thank our sponsors, who include the Inn at DePaul University Bonner Scholar Program, Humphreys Outdoor Power, Big Bounce Funhouse Rentals, Indy Lug, Brick World, and HWC Engineering. We had, like I said, the kids enjoyed themselves. It was crowded all the time. We had our own city attorney and her son Eli helped out and set up a display as well. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then in here, I gave you a lot of pictures from the event. I'll let you look at those on your own. I also, we were working with HWC Engineering on our 5-year master plan. So in your plan, I included two renderings of what HWC is kind of provided to us, looking somewhere in the future, for redesigning Roman Park as well as Ballard Family Park. So I've given you those two renderings. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, this is their thoughts. Doesn't mean it's gonna all happen, and it may not happen all in 5 years, okay? But this is kind of giving us directions as where we would like to go with our two parks in that. Okay. On another note, we are in our youth basketball season. Tomorrow, Myers Market will host a youth basketball fundraiser for us from 10 to 7 p.m. All receipts, I guess. They'll donate 10% of all receipts for the day. So if everybody is looking for a place to eat lunch tomorrow, supper tomorrow, or if you're looking for, say, butterfly pork chops or steaks for a Saturday grill or Sunday grill out, please purchase them all tomorrow, somewhere between 10 and 7. Like I said, this is at Myers Market. Now, let's go to the bad news, okay? And Linda, I apologize, you have not heard this yet, but as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, the furnace in the park house quit running. I've had 2 people look at it, 2 contractors look at it, both knew by the smell that as soon as they entered the basement, we need a new furnace, okay? I'm hoping that we'll get quotes tomorrow morning, and I'm hoping somebody will be able to put one in tomorrow sometime as well. All right, but I just wanted to let you know that. Anyway, so that was my afternoon. So any questions for me in regards to anything?
The
All right.
larger drawings that
Yeah.
Rod provided in the park plan are downstairs if you want to take a look at the bigger ones.
Before you leave, yes. They look really nice. All right, thank you.
Stay warm, shine.
Do we have questions for any of our other department heads this evening? Tom's coming up.
I know Tyler's not here, but in the last meeting, we talked about drug arrests and drug issues in our community. And one of the things that Tyler asked for us to put numbers together and provide the city council was administer of Narcan, or naloxone, which is what we use, the generic brand of Narcan. And I will report to the council that in 2017, we had 22 reported overdoses in our community. 6 of those ended up being opiate overdoses. In those overdoses, we administered 5 doses of Narcan. They were all saves. Everybody was brought back around with the Narcan that we use. They were given rides to the hospital via the ambulance, and they did survive, and they made it. One situation that it did take 2 doses of Narcan for an individual in our community, but I will tell you that it's working in our community. The dose of Narcan that we use is the mist that goes in the nostrils. It's a very slow reacting. If you put it through the needle, like Operation Life and hospitals do, they have a much more quicker and violent reaction and coming out of it. So we chose one. We didn't want to have to be responsible for needles and sharps, but we chose the nasal mist because it's a lot slower reaction and they're a lot less combative coming out of it. But I didn't want to share that with the council because I didn't have the numbers for last month.
We had 22 overdoses in Greencastle.
22 reported overdoses, yes.
In Greencastle last year.
Yes.
Now, those aren't all opiates, but
No, a lot of them were alcohol related.
still 22 overdoses. And how many, give me the second number?
Out of those 22 overdoses, I believe 6 of them were opiate related, where we administered Narcan, 5 out of the 6.
It's kind of a stunning number.
Couple of months.
Yeah.
And when I say opiate, everybody automatically thinks, well, it was heroin. I don't believe any out of the 6 were heroin related. It was just opiates.
Would the overdoses, which are some are alcohol, would that include numbers from the university, or would that just be numbers from our community?
Some of them could have been from the university, yeah.
Some. Interesting. Still a lot of overdoses.
5 lives saved. I mean,
5
that's what
that's
jumps
great.
out at me. That's fantastic. Because we weren't doing this 2 years ago?
Right at 2 years ago is when we went through the training and started carrying it.
Maybe some people were critical of us for some of the speak outs and stuff. Were critical of us for putting it out.
I will also share with the council on January the 31st, we did have our first reported heroin overdose in our community, and Narcan was used in that situation. And I will continue to track these numbers a little closer. So if you guys ever ask 6 months, June or July, you want me to give a report 6 months into the year, I should be able to give you accurate numbers.
Have we used the AED yet?
I'm not aware that any of our officers have used theirs. We had a situation in our community just last week in an accident right by the Catholic Church where an AED was used by the fire department. Police department, fire department performed CPR on an individual that had an accident, but I don't believe that it was successful, the AED.
Still. Come a long way.
Yeah, we have. I mean, between not only carrying Narcan and AEDs, but our officers, especially with active shooter events that, our community is never immune to. Anything can happen anywhere across the United States. And, so in part of our active shooter training that we teach our officers, all the officers are carrying tourniquets and, bandage kits, medic kits, whatever you want to call them, and they have a tourniquet in it. If one of the officers gets shot, you do it on yourself, but then if you don't need it, you put it on a buddy or civilian to save their life. So that's the step forward with our training that we've taken with active shooter. Which brings me to my last comment in regards to training. Our Greencastle Police Department is currently doing what we call FATS training, firearms training system. It's basically a video type game. I don't necessarily want to call it a video type game, but officers use the guns that are connected to the system. You actually shoot the gun. It does recoil and allows you to shoot multiple times. And what these are scene-based scenarios, and it gives the officer an opportunity to make a choice to either shoot or don't shoot. And I know our insurance companies in the past have really bragged about this type of training, to see officers go through scenarios such as shoot and don't shoot, because it gives you that opportunity in a very quick few seconds to make that decision if you need to shoot the individual or not, or tase the individual or not, or give them voice commands to drop the weapon so they don't have to use a taser or the firearm. And so we're currently doing that. We have been out there all day, and we'll be there through 10:30 tonight at Area 30. We will be there all day tomorrow and all day Saturday. And so I would invite you that if you have an opportunity to stop in, I have provided you the schedule and an email in the past, stop in and see what our officers are doing. Because, if you see what we're doing, then it helps you guys understand some of the things that police officers go through when they have to make split-second decisions. And you might even get to play. Any questions? Any questions?
Thank you for the report.
You're welcome.
Any other department heads want to step forward and make any comments to council or the public this evening? Council have any questions for any of the department heads? Hearing none, everybody's free to go, unless you have something on the agenda later, but please go home and spend the rest of the evening with your families. And Rod, good luck digging out a few extra blankets tonight. Okay, next item are reports. I'll be quick. We did have a great meeting out at the cemetery about the pollinator gardens. Looking to start implementing that probably in April, and have had some great support come forward from the rest of the community to provide some funding for that, including the Soil and Water Conservation District and Quail Forever, both monetary support as well as a lot of technical assistance and volunteer work as well when we go to do the plantings. Band shelter, we received our state permit, so we'll be getting that ready. The engineering firm was working on a cost estimate, and they were waiting on a couple of pieces of information to come back to finalize that. We had our kickoff stormwater meeting a week or so ago. That went well, so that project is now underway. Continue to do some additional refinement on the wayfinding program. Our next meeting for that is February 16th. Obviously, Brad's been out, salting and taking care of snow and filling potholes around the community. He has also put together his list of potential projects for sidewalks, and we're working on the street list, so those will be forthcoming. And a few more lots have sold at Whispering Winds. That continues to move forward, and other than that, that's kind of the quick quick summary. Looking forward for things to get started once the weather breaks on things, so. Question? Next, turn it over to Linda.
I think you guys all saw my email that we got approved, our 1782, our budget was approved as submitted, so that was good. And we did collect, in that whole process, all of our max levy pretty much, but $100, so that could be because of rounding, but that was good news. So we're getting that together, so we're working on our year-end annual report, so all of our books have been balanced to the bank and everything, so I've provided you with that information. So you'll have a fund report that as of December 31st, 2017, these are all the ending balances of the funds and what cash we ended up with for the end of the year. So then I was able to take those numbers and give you how we ended, what our ending cash balances were for the general fund, the MVH, the park fund, and the cemetery fund, and then kind of a projection into what 2018 would possibly look at the end of the year. So you'll see that we've got a couple funds that we're gonna run kind of close on, but I think we'll probably end up okay because like our general fund, we're gonna run close on, but right now we're down a couple firefighters, we're down a couple police, and just here in the first 3 pay periods, it saved us about $44,000. So they're gonna have a few more pay periods before they're gonna be up to staff, so that'll help us out a lot. MVH is will be in good shape. Park should be in pretty good shape. And then the cemetery, well, we may have to help them out towards the beginning of 19, but. So,
Park and recreation is in pretty good shape.
Yeah, so we.
Downward trend line there.
Well, they're gonna finish the year with a pretty good cash reserve that moves them into, positive the next year. As you can see, the parks it is going downward, but as far as being able to move into the next part of 19, they'll finish off pretty strong, so. Does anybody have any, I know you guys got these later on in your packet, does anybody have any questions about anything in particular?
Anything about the funds report that strikes you because you look at this every day?
No, the funds report's pretty good. Everything's got pretty good cash balances. You will notice that there are a couple of grants here that show negative, like the $102,000 negative is from the monument reconstruction. Well, in January, we started receiving money from the Preservation Society, the county, so that will change here. Into January, we started receiving funds in for that, so that's probably going to be zeroed out here. The police grants is probably, they have those ICAD grants where they get money from the state police to help with missing children and things like that. They've submitted a bill to them. We're just waiting for a reimbursement. And then fire grant, we're waiting for a reimbursement from the district on some equipment that was bought. So they'll all get zeroed out. We're just kind of waiting to get reimbursed back. But everything else is in the positive, pretty substantially in the positive.
Lori?
Working diligently on property acquisition for Indianapolis Road. It's a lot. So.
Bill mentioned the stormwater meeting. Steve and I were at that. I was actually really impressed with the company that came in and the presentation. I thought they did a nice job. I would encourage council to kind of pay attention to that. We can talk as it continues to go, because that will be appearing before us. They estimated, I think it was about a year, Bill. We'll see some type of movement and something before council dealing with stormwaters and how we want to handle that within the city. So it's not a discussion for tonight, but something we all just need to keep an eye on as we move forward. And really, that's about what I got. It was nice to see that the school board had 3 people apply for the position. Sometimes they have to go out and beat the bushes to find somebody, and to see 3 actual applicants, I think, is good.
I thought we had 3 good candidates. So,
I thought that too, but that's a school board decision on the
Right.
candidates. I was just happy to see 3 people willing to put their names out there in the community. I think anytime we have that, that's a positive thing for our community.
You done?
That's all I got.
I have just one observation. I want to thank Lori and Bill and the county for working together on the downtown parking. It's been an issue for years, and it's amazing the way things have opened up. And I want to encourage folks, you want to go have lunch downtown, you want to go shopping, you should find parking on the square. I've been periodically walking out the front door where I work and checking, and it's wonderful. And the county employees have been parking in the city lots, they've been walking, they've been doing their part, and it's a problem that has been rectified, and I think it's great.
Credit truly goes to Lori
And the county
and Jim
commissioners.
Ensley and the county
Yes, I was
commissioners.
talking to Dave Barry today, and he's just thrilled. One thing I will say, though, a couple of the courthouse employees have mentioned to me that now that they are parking, please, that the store owners, the residents, keep those sidewalks clean, because they are hiking up the hills, they are, walking to work, and we certainly don't want anybody slipping or falling. So I don't know, Bill, if there's anything we can do except just, say to folks, please keep your sidewalks
We'll work with Main Street,
shoveled
and maybe they can
yeah.
help us get the word out to some of the downtown property owners and businesses.
But it was just a win for everybody, and it's great that it's been taken care of.
I'm really appreciative that we have commissioners that are open and want to help solve the problem. It's really great.
I have nothing, I was at the same meeting with Adam.
Well, Stacy, did you make the school board meeting this afternoon? Did you
I
want to
did
say
not
anything
go
about
this afternoon. They have chosen a candidate. Brian Cox has been chosen. It's already been in the banner. I did go to the interviews on Tuesday, and 3 outstanding candidates. They all had attributes that they would have been great for the school board. And how great that these people wanted to get involved and being part of our educational system. So it was a good process, and the school board did a good job, and I think we're in good shape going forward.
I've received several positive comments about the ordinance we're going to talk about, the stop signs. However, some people have wondered why we are not talking about one on the northeast corner of the square, i.e., would it be Franklin and Indiana? That would be another candidate where we should be thinking about putting in a stop sign. There actually was someone was killed, right, crossing there. So I would encourage us to think about putting stop signs at that 4-way stops at that particular intersection also.
The problem is there's not a real clear place to put it. Are you going to put it in the center of the street?
I just watched
I
the
mean,
video.
that's the problem. That's
I
why
just watched the
that's why
video.
there is none.
I just watched a video of Falcon Heavy. We have now sent a Tesla to Mars. I mean, there
We
are,
welcome any ideas you have.
well,
on how
I
to
mean,
do it.
flashing red lights, right?
In the middle of the,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, there are ways
We've
of
got
doing
some
it.
engineering things but we'll start taking a look at it.
Yeah. Anyway, people are positive about the stops signs.
Nothing further here.
Thank you. Next order of business is the approval of minutes of the regular session of January 11th.
I would move to approve the minutes for
Second.
January 11th.
We have a motion and a second to
Somebody
approve
will find a
the
mistake.
minutes as presented. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Could I add something about the stop sign? We did just recently add a sign to one of the stop signs saying that it was a three-way stop to alert the folks. Brad just added that at the request of somebody to help make it safer in the interim.
Thanks.
We needed a second on my motion to approve the
I
minutes.
will second that motion.
Not-
That we already voted on.
Steve Fields
Oh,
did.
okay.
Steve,
I
yeah,
missed
Steve.
that, sorry, Steve.
So, everybody voted?
Yep.
Okay. Next item of business is approval of city claims.
I'm gonna pinch hit for Mark Hammer tonight, if you haven't thought about your taxes, he has. So my report is payroll, $438,820.36. Pensioners, $15,065.46. Accounts payable, there's a large one for Grady Brothers for street repaving, just short of $480,000. Civil engineering, multiple requests, but the largest one is for engineering on Indianapolis Road. And then Joe Spiker for paving at Big Walnut Sports Park. On the accounts payable, if you haven't noticed, it's also winter time. One of the large expenditures was to Cargill, $19,282.72 for 234.64 tons of salt. Mid-America Fire, $17,000 and change for hoses and a series of things for the fire department. Northern Lights, $10,234 for our Christmas lights, but almost all of that is offset by donations. In fact, maybe I was talking with Linda before the meeting that there are a couple of outstanding donations that would zero that out. So that's all I have. The total on that was $125,329.35. And I make a motion that the claims be approved.
Paved at the sports park.
What's that?
What is
Parking
Spiker?
lot.
The park, the girls,
Great.
girls complex.
I asked what was paved at the sports park,
Yeah.
so,
They've still got work to do. The project's only about halfway done.
great.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims as presented. Any further questions about the claims? Please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Next item of business is old business, an update on streaming of city council meetings. And Greg, I don't know if you want to say anything, but actually tonight is maybe going to be a first kind of an experiment, but it looks like the equipment will only be about $1,500, which is very reasonable. We'll certainly be able to find that. However, we need to do a little more research on probably upgrading our internet feed here because we need a little more bandwidth than what we've got.
I think it'd be great if we were streaming away.
I'm not there yet, but
Actually, the idea of streaming it live is what would cost $1,500, and I don't think that's the best route to go. Because rarely do people sit in front of their Facebook to watch a live presentation. You'll have more people see it after the fact. To that end, it can be done virtually cost-free with the improvement of the internet connection here at City Hall. And it would go something like this. I take the file that we shoot here, I run it through a software that changes it to the file format that is acceptable for upload to Facebook or YouTube. I then upload it to YouTube because Facebook has limitations on the amount of video you can upload at one particular time. YouTube, once you have a verified channel, does not. So we put it up on a YouTube channel that I've already set up strictly for public access. Then you send that link and you post the link on Facebook. When somebody clicks on the link on Facebook, they're actually watching this city council meeting off of YouTube. That's all doable virtually with no cost.
I like the cost estimate.
Yeah.
I thought you might like that. And streaming, because the length of the city council varies, and streaming live to Facebook could be problematic if we got in one of those awful 4-hour mega controversial things we've had from time to time. I think this is the best route to go.
I think it sounds perfect, and we could even put the link on our website, right?
Yeah, could we do that? We
Yeah,
our
you could put on,
website?
you could put on the website, you can put on the Facebook page, and after the fact, whoever oversees those, you just take down the link. Once I know the link's taken down, I'll take it off of YouTube. I didn't plan to use the YouTube channel as an archival point. Certainly, it'll be publicly accessed if you want to do that. And you decide how many you want to keep up there.
Is there a cost to keeping them up
Nope.
there?
Not a dime. And YouTube has virtually unlimited storage capability for free.
I don't know why we wouldn't just keep them up there.
Well, it's the same reason I don't keep them on the drive for over a year or so, because there's just, although you can store them up there, do you really want a city council meeting from 4 years ago floating around on YouTube forever? One never knows.
Depends on what happens at the council meeting.
Exactly. I think this way to go, as opposed to looking at YouTube as the YouTube channel as an archival place, it's a transfer point. We have it archived.
That makes sense.
We have it archived here for playback in the city. And so you leave it up there for the same amount of time we leave a playback on here, about a month. And then you pull it down and then you put up the latest one. Or if you want to, keep 2 months up.
Yeah, 2 months sounds.
That's something, that angle is up to whoever oversees your Facebook page and your web page. You just tell me how you want to do it, and I won't take the YouTube video down until I have it confirmed that you're not running it on Facebook anymore. What would happen if it was taken down? And you've seen this on Facebook sometimes, the link is broken.
Yep.
It just doesn't go anywhere. So if for some reason it got taken down on YouTube and you hadn't removed the link just wouldn't operate.
I think this is great. Thank you.
Yeah,
It takes about 48 hours for that whole process to take place. And in addition to that, what I'm able to do is put a slate on the front in like an opening title, the date and everything, and then clean up the ending. Just a small amount of post-production on it before I render it to the final format to upload to YouTube. If I'm given that 48-hour window, that's pretty easy to accomplish. The question that the mayor asked me before the meeting, you could probably answer, is being that your Facebook is a public format Facebook, I know, are there rules where you can't edit other people's comments and stuff?
That's correct.
But do you have to leave the link up for forever going to the YouTube?
That's a good question, because you're removing a public record, I guess.
But it's a post that you put up there as opposed to someone from the public doing it. We'd have to verify that, otherwise you're gonna have these archived on, the other opposite way, and what about your web page?
Well, as long as we kept a copy, it doesn't necessarily have to stay on that same, as long as we have a copy, but we don't keep copies forever.
Well, we don't have to keep, my understanding was, you don't have to keep the video for forever, but you have to keep the transcripts of the meeting.
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
that's
We
why,
can get rid of the
that's why
videos.
we can eliminate, after a year or so, the drive gets filled up, and we take them off the drive for storage
Yep,
space.
Yep.
So legally, we're still keeping all the minutes,
Yeah.
and that was my understanding.
That's correct, that's what.
So I don't know how it
statute
works
says.
with
So
the
I think that
Facebook
would
page
be-
or your website, because is the website considered
I
a
gotta
public
think about
website?
Yeah, like I say, as this has evolved over the last 30 days, we've come up with a few questions we need to do a little more research on.
And the laws are evolving too in the State House on all of this, so I'll have to make sure that we'd be compliant with.
Sure, and so
latest
the mechanism's in place. In fact,
Generation.
tonight I'm going to take this and run it through the mill like a test case. I've already done it with a meeting from about 2 years ago. I uplinked to the channel I created on YouTube, and then I posted it on my own Facebook as a test. Went flawlessly.
So we
So-
don't need to spend $1,500 to do
No,
it live?
not in my opinion,
Good.
no.
I agree.
Technically won't
Yeah.
be live. It'll be
Right.
2 days.
Right, but if we wanted it live, we'd need to invest some money,
No,
right?
doing it live creates a different technical considerations and the additional equipment, and in this way, we can use the equipment we currently
That's
have.
fine. This is a huge step forward for
What do we have to
people.
do to upgrade our?
Well, that's either, that you and the city council have to decide. Currently, the service that you have now, the upload speed is 1.5 megs, which is really, really slow. So when I've uploaded the converted format from here for an hour and a half city council, I had to leave it run for 6 or 7 hours, just uploading up to a Google Drive, simply because the upload speed is so slow.
I don't know they made them that slow still.
Yeah. So, I don't believe you're connected with Synergy. If you could, since you already have your phone service,
Yeah,
you might be
we've
able to
got
work a
little
deal with
research.
Synergy. would be the best avenue to go, so.
Well, thank you.
No, no problem.
Can I say what a great job Greg has done for us?
100%.
Yep.
And he has not had an increase in over 15 years in his contract. All right, I just want to say,
I mean,
well, anyway,
Greg
we're
sits
grateful.
quietly through the most boring meetings some nights.
What?
He does sometimes.
These aren't boring.
Sometimes they are.
well, the other thing Greg does for us is, you know, he takes care of posting all the public service
Yeah.
announcements and things on our cable access channel as well, so does a
Thank
great
you.
job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next item of business is new business. The first item of new business is Resolution 2018-2, a resolution declaring an economic revitalization area in Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, for Chiota USA Corporation. And Kristen is here to introduce the project for us.
Absolutely. So Chiota is an existing company that is a Tier 1 supplier to Subaru up in Lafayette. And we've seen tremendous growth in our Tier 1 suppliers due to Subaru's growth. And so Chiota is looking to expand not their footprint, but just their machinery and equipment inside their facility. So they have come before us requesting abatement for their new line. And we have a resolution before you this evening to see if you will approve the beginning stages of the abatement. So tonight, we're just going to designate the area for abatement purposes as an economic revitalization area. Then we will come before you at your next council meeting and hold a public hearing on that, and then ask for the approval of the abatement at that time.
One of the things I'd like to ask, not tonight for you to answer, but looking ahead to next month. A number of years ago, council started asking companies that came to us to list all their civic engagements.
Right.
And that was kind of nice, just to see what they were doing. Would it be possible to ask, I have two different questions. One is, could we get kind of a sense of where their base salaries are and where their 90-day kind of, or where those bonuses begin to kick in salaries?
Okay, sure.
I know a lot of companies after 90 days of work will kick it up. Just trying to get a feel of, you know, where our wage structure is. Then the other one, I want to be careful how I word this. I'd like to know that the companies are allowing the use of Putnam County Hospital as a preferred provider.
Okay.
I'm not saying we have to go to Putnam County, but I think it's important that our employers in town make sure that we're keeping a hospital strong and not just sending all the business out of town. People should be able to go where they want to go, absolutely, but I think making sure that Putnam County is an option for local people, to me, is at least important.
Sure, we can address both those things. The one thing you requested first with the salaries, that's kind of difficult simply because there's so many layers on
And that's what I was
how they're
trying
in.
to figure out how to,
But like for this project, for example, they've projected 60 new jobs and they've got a salary amount, and we'll break that down at the next meeting, but it's going to be around $25,000 annually, but it just depends on what the job is. So, you know, but absolutely, we'll try to get a little more detailed for you for next meeting.
Yep.
Sure.
I guess I'm confused, Adam. For what purpose are we asking these questions? I mean, are we going to say no if it doesn't meet certain standards? I mean,
you know, that's a good question. When we asked the other question about civic engagement, we didn't say we were going to say no, but I think there are certain things that companies can do to help support our community when they're coming to ask us, and shining some light on that, I think, is a good thing. I think making sure that companies, to be honest, I'm less concerned about the wage scale because the market drives that.
Sure.
Than I am concerned about making sure that companies that are getting abatements and stuff, or companies that aren't paying taxes in our community, are supportive of the maintaining of a local emergency response and hospital within our community. Yeah. And I've begun to sense and see some movement from a number of employers where they're pushing that out of town. And I'm not sure long-term for economic development that is healthy for us. I've not had any discussion with the hospital, but I think maintaining a strong local hospital is important for economic development.
Yeah, I think, Gary, when council started asking the questions, it wasn't really for a yes or no, it was just to help gain a better understanding of how the companies operate and things of that nature.
Well, I don't want you to interpret what I'm saying as, I mean, everything else equal, obviously you want people, companies that are engaged, that are doing things, but, you know, for me, you know, I'm gonna vote yes or no, yes, because they're gonna bring jobs.
We've never voted no.
Yeah, I know, and so, so you give me more information, I'm not sure how I'm gonna process it, right? I mean,
Well, I think we can process it, especially on the hospital one. And again, I've not talked to Dennis Weatherford or anybody at the hospital about this. But if we see companies as a trend beginning to move that away, we can at least begin to ask the question. Can we make sure that we're supporting our local chains as much as we are out-of-town chains?
I hear Adam saying, we're not requiring anybody to use it, but it darn well should be in the menu of potential healthcare.
I want to be, I want to be,
Then I've got an issue with that company.
right. I want to be crystal clear, in no way, and Eric, please, in no way am I saying you have to use Putnam County Hospital. That is an individual choice that everybody has. I want to make sure that it's an option, and I want to make sure we're doing everything we can by bringing public pressure on it to make sure that hospital's getting its share of option business, so its emergency room and the key services it provides to our community stay open. I mean, we are a one hospital town.
You read Richard Florida, all the folks who talk about community development and economic development. You gotta have good schools and you gotta have good local health care.
You do.
And I will say that the Putnam County Hospital has engaged in some really healthy conversations with most of our major employers. They were pushing out an initiative last year about Healthy Indiana, and so a lot of our major employers and their marketing manager and Dennis himself had some really good conversations about that. So there's definitely a relationship, but there's nothing saying that we can't always reinforce that and continue to encourage that.
And you're
There's
right.
a lot of work being done for bringing occupational medicine here and making them a key player. So that's in the works, and hopefully that'll be a successful
And they're doing some
program.
wonderful things out there. I mean, from having cardio doctors there every day to the cancer center they have out. I mean, they're doing, I just want to make sure we're supporting. I think
They
that's
are
what Dave's saying.
wonderful people at Putnam County Hospital. I will say that from a personal experience.
I want to support it. And I probably, you know, I've never voted no on an abatement. But I want to cast an eye on it. That's all.
And Adam, in response to your first question, they're, in their statement of benefits that we are going to dissect at the next meeting, they are saying that they're going to create 60 new jobs at a salary of about $24,000 annually, which is about $12 an hour. So that will kind of help, and we can break that down further next meeting, but that was just a quick calculation.
Quality jobs, which we are. But I think these are legitimate questions.
Sure, and good, healthy discussion about those.
Legitimate questions for abatement. Like I said, I've never voted against an abatement.
Right. And Shiota reps will be here next meeting. You know, tonight, it's just declaring the
And that's why I
ERA,
wanted to bring it
so.
out early.
Do you need a motion on this?
Yes.
We have to read
We
it.
have to read the fun thing first.
This is a resolution declaring an economic revitalization.
Foregoing the legal description.
Yes.
Yeah, in Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, for Toyota USA Corporation. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, has determined that it would be in the best interest of the citizens of Greencastle, Indiana, if such Common Council defined and declared a certain area within such city as an economic revitalization area. And whereas IC 6-1.1-12.1-1 to IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5 defines the procedure for establishing such an economic revitalization area. And whereas the Common Council desires to make available to persons owning property in such economic revitalization area the right to a deduction from assessed value of real property as defined in IC 6-1.1-12.1-3, and a deduction for manufacturing equipment, logistics distribution equipment, research and development equipment, and information technology equipment as defined in IC 6-1.1-12.1-4.5. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana as follows, that this Common Council hereby declares by description the boundaries of the area to be declared herein to be an economic revitalization area as follows. The legal description follows, and this covers the entire site out there of approximately 39 acres. 2, that the above described real estate is deemed by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle to be an economic revitalization area within the corporate limits of the City of Greencastle, Putnam County, Indiana, which has become obsolete and not lending itself to normal development because of the availability of other development ground within the city, which is qualified for tax abatement, and because of a cessation or lack of growth in the general area, which is anticipated to lead to the deterioration of the area and continued stagnation of employment within the City of Greencastle. This said area is not utilized as an area to promote industrial expansion for the City of Greencastle. 3, that in order to be competitive in attracting new industrial prospects to the City of Greencastle and new investment by existing industry, it is imperative that such city offer to prospective new industries locating in and existing industries investing in the above described area up to the maximum tax abatement as allowed by law. 4, that the Common Council now resolves that the above designated area shall be declared an economic revitalization area under the terms and provisions of IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5, that this resolution shall be published pursuant to the provisions of IC 5-3-1, and a copy of this resolution shall be provided to the Putnam County Assessor's Office for inspection therein. And 6, after due publication, a public hearing shall be held at the time set forth in the public notice notifying of the passage of this resolution, at which time this Common Council shall receive and hear all remonstrances and objections, determine whether or not the qualifications for an economic revitalization area have been met, and take final action upon this resolution. Passed and resolved by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle at its regular meeting this 8th day of February 2018 with appropriate signature lines.
I think Steve kind of already moved it.
We have a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please indicate your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item of new business is is the Greencastle Putnam County Development Center annual contract. And Kristen's here. This is basically the same contract we've used for a number of years with the Development Center. And she's just here to introduce it, as has been done in the past.
So first, I'd like to say thank you for supporting us for the number of years you have in our economic development efforts. We are healthy partners with both, representing both the city and the county. And you guys took the lead about 4 years ago. You upped your contribution from $40,000 to $45,000, and the county did the same thing this year and matched the $45,000. So thank you for being leaders in that field. And yeah, once again, this is standard operating procedure. This is what we do day in and day out. And one of the major things we do is what we just did, supporting existing companies to support with tax abatement issues. So we appreciate that. I've been here 2 years, and in those 2 years, we've given abatement to Heartland twice, and to Crown Equipment, and then Chiyoda will be forthcoming. So it's definitely a beneficial thing for our companies and our major employers that are employing a lot of the people in the community. So I thank you for that. And in addition to that, for thanking you, I think you all received it, but we have our annual meeting tomorrow at lunch. We hope you can all make it. And that is going to be at Music on the Square. The new restaurant Bridges is going to be catering that, and that's going to be for specific invited guests, and all of you are invited, and that will be to really showcase Dr. Mark McCoy, president of DePauw, is going to be the keynote speaker, and he's just going to really highlight and showcase the great relationship that Greencastle City and DePauw University has. He coined the phrase communiversity, and we're going to hear more about that. But it looks, we're going to take a look at all of the alumni investing in the downtown community and making it a healthier place. So,
any questions for Kristen?
Do we need a motion, or what do we do?
A motion to approve the mayor to sign.
I move that we approve the mayor to sign a continuing contract with the Putnam County Development Center.
Second the motion, and Kristen, thank you for doing a great job the last 2 years. We
thank
really
you.
appreciate
It's been great working with you, and especially with Bill. We have a great collaborative effort. So
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract and allow the mayor to sign the contract. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
And the funding for the contract comes out of our edit funds. Thanks, Kristen.
All right, great, thank
Have
you.
a safe trip home this
Thank
evening.
you.
And we'll get the signature copy to you.
Okay, I was gonna say, then I'll be by your office, or you'll be by mine.
I'll bring you a check.
And I'll see
Thanks.
most of you tomorrow.
Okay, next item of new business is ordinance number 2018-1, an ordinance amending ordinance 2000-4, an ordinance designating stop intersections. And I will turn this over to Lori. She's prepared the ordinance for your consideration.
Would you read it?
The two intersections,
I
okay.
didn't bring my copy.
Oh, okay, all right.
Sure.
It starts, whereas IC 9-21-1-3 grants the city of Greencastle the authority to designate intersections as stop intersections, which requires all vehicles to stop at one or more of the entrances to the intersections. Whereas said statute requires the adoption of an ordinance designating stop intersections, whereas the city of Greencastle adopted ordinance 2000-4, an ordinance designating stop intersections, setting out all stop intersections within the city of Greencastle, and has amended it in ordinances 2002-18, 2004-37, 2007-9, and 2008-11, whereas the city of Greencastle has determined that a stop sign should be installed at the locations listed below and wishes to amend ordinance to add those intersections. Therefore, be it ordained and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle, Indiana, 1, that ordinance 2000-4, an ordinance designating stop intersections as previously amended, is hereby further amended to add the following stop intersections for the City of Greencastle on the streets listed below. Vine Street intersecting Franklin Street, to add 2 additional stop signs for the benefit of the public, making that a 4-way stop. And then Indiana Street and Walnut Street to add 2 additional stop signs. Again, making that a 4-way stop intersection. That all other stop intersections designated in ordinance 2004 as amended remain in full force and effect, passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Greencastle this blank day of blank 2018 with appropriate signature lines.
It's important to remind people that this is an ordinance, so it'll have to be read again next month. It does not happen tonight after we approve it.
There's no public comment tonight. Does anybody have any negative feedback about this? And if not, I move that we approve ordinance 2018-1, an ordinance amending ordinance 2000-4, an ordinance designating stop sign intersections.
I'll make a second, and this was brought to us by the owner of Wasser, 2 years ago, 2.5, and I'm just glad there's been continued discussion and that there's been input from the community and that we've gotten to the point now where we can do something safety-wise, so I think it's great, yeah.
We have a motion and a second. For further discussion, I did receive a call from Chris Weeks this afternoon, and he said, just being in business there, now that he's been open for a while, he said, what doesn't get reported is all the near misses that happen. And so he said there've been quite a number of them. So appreciate Brad and Tom and Lori working on this. And we had a lot of we've had over the past year and a half, we've had a lot of discussion at department head meetings about this. So we do have a motion and a second. Any other additional comments or questions? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
And again, for the benefit of the public, that'll be on next month's agenda for final passage. And Brad does have the signs on hand, so weather permitting, they should be able to be put up fairly quickly. Next item of new business is some business that Linda would like to bring before you, and that is the cancellation of outstanding warrants. So I will turn the floor over to Linda.
So every year, before March 1st, we have to present to the council a list of checks that are 2 or more years old as of December 31st from 2017. So I have gone through those and I have presented a list to you guys. We have one payroll check in the amount of $14.37. And then we have 7 checks Two of which, the Amateur Softball Association check and the Progressive Printing check, I know were lost in the mail, because we had reissued a new check, and they've just been stopped payment on, and they're just sitting there, so they need to be taken off. And then the remaining 5 checks are utility refund checks. So people move, they don't give us the right forwarding address, or some of them are very, very small that they may not take the time to cash their $1.87 check. So there's a total of $1,933.43 of outstanding checks that I need you guys to sign and approve.
Remember when we first did this, there were a whole heck of a lot more.
Yeah, there was a lot
I
more.
think we had done it or something. You caught us up on that, so thank you. Somebody want to move to get rid of the checks?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to take care of all these outstanding checks. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we need to send around a signature copy for, a couple copies for that. That concludes all of the business that is on our agenda this evening, so I will gladly entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Bye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.